Good afternoon, everyone. We are so excited to see so many of you today. We are 58 and counting in the Zoom room. My name is Lomo Phillips, and I am the Events and External Relations Manager here at the Linked Learning Alliance. And it's the day that you've all been anxiously awaiting for, the launch of the new Linked Learning certification platform. Before we get started, there are a few housekeeping notes that I'd like to mention. There is absolutely no need to memorize everything that we go over today. The session is being recorded and will be available later for review. As a reminder, this will be a general overview, so nothing too technical will be talked about today. This is really just a chance for you to see all the new and improved features and to visualize the layout of the new platform. As always, please stay muted if you are not speaking, and if you have trouble with your internet connection, try turning your video off. During the walkthrough, my colleagues Maya and Dan will be sharing their screen to give you a tour of the new platform. For the best viewing, once they begin to share their screen, we suggest you go to the top bar of your Zoom window, click View Options next to the green bar, and click Fit to Window. You can also make the Zoom window full screen by clicking on the arrows in the upper right-hand corner or by clicking the Maximize button in the upper left-hand corner. Note that your Zoom settings may automatically do this when they begin sharing their screen. We'll start today by talking about the purpose of certification, why we decided to redesign the certification platform, and how we improved it, but we'll spend the majority of the hour giving you a general tour. There will also be a bit of time for one of our pilot users to share their feedback from when they beta tested the platform. Stay tuned to see who it is. And rest assured, we will have plenty of time to answer your questions during and after this session. We'll pause a few times during the walkthrough for everyone to digest the information, ask questions, and then we'll save a good chunk of time at the end too for folks to stay around and ask more questions if they have them. Now I'll kick it over to Renita, Dan, and Maya to introduce themselves. Renita?
Great. Thank you so much, Lomo, and welcome everybody. We're just really excited that you are taking some time from your afternoon to join us for this launch. We're super excited about it. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Renita Guha. I'm the Vice President for Strategy and Impact here at the Linked Learning Alliance. I'm actually a longtime education researcher, and I lead our work to build strategic partnerships and develop the evidence base for linked learning to fuel this national movement. And as some of you may know, I actually served as the principal investigator of a multi-year evaluation of linked learning, which started well over a decade ago and continues to grow and scale. And I love this work because I got to witness firsthand how impactful linked learning is for students, teachers, and communities. So I'm excited to be here with you today.
Sunita, I'm Dan Storrs, CU Director of K-12 Engagement at the Alliance. I was going to come disguised in my cat filter today, but Renita wisely suggested that was a bad idea. I'm a career middle and high school educator, and here at the Alliance, I work with districts and pathways on certification and initiatives related to implementation of the linked learning standards. Maya?
Hi everyone, my name is Maya Libas. I'm the manager of special projects at the Alliance. I also work with districts and pathways specifically on silver certification, and I've been working extensively on the creation and implementation of this new platform that we'll be showing you today. Dr. Renita.
Thanks. And I just want to extend my appreciation to Dan and Maya for an incredible amount of work that's gone into building this platform and working with our developers. And so we get to hear all about that in a minute. But before we walk you through the redesign process and give you a tour of the new platform, I just wanted to step back and reiterate the purpose and importance of certification, the standards, the process, as well as the new platform that was really designed to support this work. And so we really start from the, sort of what's the foundation, right? Linked learning is really a standard of excellence for college and career preparation. And we know from research that it's a demonstrated means for advancing equity in education. And we have a really ambitious goal here at the Alliance, and that's to get 1 million young people in gold certified pathways by 2030. But we know that to get to scale, we need quality to achieve equity. And that's really the North Star for our work. And so from the research that I led, we know that to achieve positive outcomes for kids, the 4 components of linked learning really have to be implemented in ways that deliver high quality classroom and workplace experiences. And so we developed linked learning certification to ensure we can meet our goals around scale, tied to quality, tied to equity, and by anchoring the criteria in research on what's needed to provide a high quality experience that produces positive student outcomes. And so as many of you know, Pathways began their journey as candidates for silver certification and then move on to gold certification. And for us, gold certification is the highest standard for college and career preparation. And certification, it's not just about reaching that, gold, right? It's to align the growing field of practitioners and pathways as we are growing. And it's also to ensure that students receive the tangible benefits of linked learning that we designed. And that's really whether through in-person instruction or distance learning, as many of us are doing right now. It also, certification drives excellence and equity by validating a pathway team's progress and raising the visibility of exemplar college and career pathways for fellow educators, as well as for industry partners, higher education, community members, and policymakers. And those of you who've been through the gold certification process know that we've been able to bring together through these celebrations folks from all over the community to celebrate the good work that you're doing, and that's what we want to continue to do. And I think really important, certification was really designed to support continuous improvement. The work you all are engaged in takes time. The sort of lasting change we're aiming for doesn't happen overnight. This is a real journey, and we're really here to support you all in the work that you're doing on the ground. And then finally, I just want to remind folks that the certification, the standards, and the process were developed in collaboration with field practitioners and education experts to ensure that this is something that works for all of you. And so what we realized to achieve all these goals is that we need a certification platform that's really going to drive high quality teaching and learning in an integrated college and career pathways. And it has to serve the hundreds of pathways as they engage in the certification process, using the standards as a framework to expand and enhance their work. And so before I turn it to Dan, I just want to note that this is a work in progress, right? We're launching today, but I really appreciate if folks can bring patience and grace as we all kind of go on this journey together. And as we're both transitioning folks from the old platform to the new platform and bringing on new pathways, it's going to continue to evolve and adapt as we figure out what's working and what's still needed. So I'm really encouraged, as we've done through all of the pandemic, bringing that patience and grace. And I also just want to thank our partners at Presence. Dan will talk about them in a second, but they're the developers and have been really great partners, and just want to thank them for their collaboration throughout this past year as we've been working on this project. And so Dan, I'm going to turn it to you to share why we made the decision to redesign the platform.
All right, thanks, Renita. We decided to introduce a new certification platform to respond to the needs of the field and meet growing demand. More than 2 years ago, we piloted gold certification and introduced the Linked Learning Gold standards based on years of research on student outcomes in high quality pathways and input from educators in the field, representing diverse communities across California. Soon after that, we began talking with our pathway partners about what they value in certification and how the platforms serve their needs. We engaged the Presence product group to complete a comprehensive review and analysis of the Linked Learning certification platform and user experience to assess the platform's value and benefits, as well as identify areas for improvement. Presence has deep expertise in designing and building accreditation technology platforms in the education and human services sectors. They conducted an in-depth technical assessment of the Linked Learning certification platform. The firm also gathered information about platform usage and value through intensive discussions with Linked Learning Alliance staff and one-on-one interviews with practitioners from the Linked Learning field. The platform was designed and built based on the research and was recently tested and reviewed by pathway and district practitioners. The Linked Learning Alliance has certified more than 100 pathways at the silver level and now 17 gold pathways. With local events and press coverage of the achievement of those gold pathways, recent sessions with California elected officials and policymakers, and ongoing promotion by the Linked Learning Alliance, more silver pathways are motivated to strive for gold, and additional pathways are eager to enter the certification system. Maya will walk through these features in more detail in a few minutes, but first, I'll highlight the new capabilities that we're thrilled to share with you. The new certification platform is designed to meet increasing demand and provide an improved user experience through a consistent, unified view of silver and gold processes and standards, a pathway repository of your past artifacts that you can build on as you progress through certification, a streamlined, intuitive data entry interface for district, school, and pathway personnel, enhanced user management and security, integration of the review process within the platform for both silver and gold certification, and visibility for pathway and district staff into certification progress and next steps, as well as important dates and deadlines, improved collaboration capabilities, and a flexible system, very importantly, to allow for ongoing changes to the certification process as linked learning practices continue to grow and deepen. And as Renita mentioned, all of this is designed to better support pathways in their journey of continuous improvement. Now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, really, the grand tour. So I'll hand it over to our wonderful tour guide, Maya.
I was muted, sorry about that. Thanks, Dan. So I'll be sharing my screen to show you all the platform and the different pages that you'll be going through the most. To begin your process, go to the Linked Learning website and you'll be able to access either the certification registration form or to log into the platform. Pathways that have not previously registered or engaged with the Alliance will indicate their interest in going through certification process by filling out this form. And only the pathway certification lead needs to fill out this form, as it indicates your pathway's interest and not an individual's interest. Once we review your request and confirm your eligibility, you'll receive a welcome email with instructions on how to access the certification portal. If you were previously certified or already registered in our old system, then you'll receive an email after this webinar with instructions on how to access that platform. You don't need to use the registration form if you've already been involved in certification. If you're unsure of what your pathway status is, just contact us and we'll help you figure it out. So I'm now going to enter the certification platform directly from our website, logging in. All right, the internet is working. So if you're a part of multiple pathways or work at the district level, you'll see the different schools and pathways that you're associated with. You can choose the one you wish to engage with at this time. So I'm going to choose Art is Revolution, which is currently a silver certified pathway. Once you enter your pathways page, you'll land on a home page where you'll see an overview of your pathways journey, as well as announcements, engagement opportunities, and other news from the Linked Learning Alliance. School and district users are able to interact with the system in another area of improvement, as they'll be able to see the status of all of their associated pathways at a glance to see where in the process they are, as well as be able to see what is being worked on in order to offer better support.
And this is one example of supporting collaboration by improving transparency for all levels of users.
All right, on to the pathway page. So on this overview page, you'll have basic information on your pathway that was pulled from your interest form. You'll want to review this page to make sure that it's accurate and that nothing needs to be updated. The team page is where certification leads will list their team members. You can list as much of your team as you'd like, including core academic and CTE teachers, coaches, and coordinators. However, not everyone will necessarily need access to the portal if they aren't planning on contributing directly to the certification process. You can still list those people here, but you may not want to grant them portal access, but don't worry, we can change that at any time, and this should be the main responsibility of the pathway lead. So we're really excited about this partners page where you'll see the list of your industry partners, higher ed partners, and community-based organizations that support your pathway. Here you can indicate your main point of contact as well as notes on their relationship with your pathway.
And we've intentionally left it open for you to define your own team based on your pathway structure. And including partners on the partners page Maya just mentioned will be an important information for reviewers to see during the certification process.
And we think this section could really enhance the institutional memory of your pathway. As new members join your team, they'll be able to see who's supported your pathway in the past, currently, and in what capacity. So I'm going to pause there quickly, and we'll do a couple minutes of Q&A.
feel free to put it in the chat, raise your hand, just unmute yourself and speak up if you have any questions. We're going to be pausing periodically throughout the hour just to give you a chance to answer questions. So it's early on, but just want to give you the opportunity before we move on. And if
we do have a question in the chat, actually.
Yeah.
Sure. So can one of y'all answer, what is the difference between the certification lead and the pathway lead?
Good question. The certification lead. So every pathway has a pathway lead, right? But the pathway lead sometimes is not necessarily the person leading the certification process. It might be, there might be a pathway coach for your school that it's the coach for multiple pathways, but they are really leading the certification effort. So that would be your certification lead. It could be that your pathway lead, and oftentimes it is your certification lead as well.
Another question we have is, who do we email to find out if our school was registered?
Maya, you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. So for pretty much all questions, you can email the certification team, and that email address is certification@linklearning.org. And we will do our best to answer all of your questions. You'll see a little bit later, there's also a support function within this system, but if you aren't sure if you're registered, you wouldn't be in here yet. So that'll make more sense later.
All right, we're going to move on. Again, there'll be other opportunities to ask questions. And now we're going to take a look at the certification section. And here you'll see the process steps for certification and where both the pathway and district team can monitor progress. This page will look different based on which type of certification you're working towards, which is indicated at the top. In this case, you can see that this pathway is working on gold certification. The clocks on the left of each step will indicate when you've completed the requirements for the specific step, and that's indicated by the green. You can also click on the steps to be directed to the corresponding pages, such as pathway profile, pathway data, and providing artifacts. You can work on different sections simultaneously.
And also, if your pathway had documents in our previous systems, you'll have the ability to download those for future use in your certification process if they're still relevant. Gold files are still in the process of being added.
Thanks, Maya. And in the data section, you'll see the tabs at the top for overarching data and the 3 strands. We're very excited by the potential of this section as it will be able to provide a spotlight for pathways to see year-over-year data as time goes on. The data will help pathways identify how they are doing in comparison to the district as a whole, as well as areas where they need to focus on improvement. Based on the information they collect, pathways will be better able to make data-informed decisions as they strive towards equitable outcomes for their students. And the information will be available to everyone on the team.
And as Dan mentioned, we are asking for comparison data, and we're working on a system where districts will be able to provide the comparison data for all of the pathways within that district.
Yeah. And in the artifacts section, you'll see that it's structured like the data page with similar tabs at the top, and each tab containing related domains and the associated standards. For each domain, you'll see the description and then below a link to sample artifacts and resources to help guide you. You'll see a prompt below that and a place to add your narrative for the domain, followed by a button to upload artifacts. All uploaded artifacts will appear here. And once your team is satisfied with the information provided for that standard, you can mark it as complete. As you do this, the clocks on the left will turn green and the progress bar at the top of the page will show progress as well. And once all standards and strands have been addressed, the progress bar at the top of the page will change to a submit button. Another feature is the messaging system. Through this, pathway team members can make comments and ask questions of each other and of the Alliance team and reviewers. And the messages are tagged to this specific domain. So there'll be a running record as well as greater clarity on where people need support. The messages will also be visible on your message page, which Maya will show you a little later. As part of our development process, we engaged a small group of folks to test out the tool and provide feedback that we've been able to incorporate into the new platform. Edward Steinhauser, the assistant principal at the School of Medicine and Biotechnology at Wilson High School in Long Beach, was in our pilot group. And so before we move into a few minutes of Q&A, I'd like to invite Edward to say a few words about what he's excited about in the platform. Mr. Steinhauser, welcome.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to kind of briefly talk about the new certification platform. So I was fortunate enough, as were a few of my colleagues, to be a part of the pilot rollout of this. And it's really kind of nice to see sort of the formation from the pilot to where we are now with the feedback from the group and everything. And I think the biggest takeaway for me of what the value add for this is really kind of synthesized as a roadmap. Like, this really serves as the roadmap for what our pathway teams need to look at and kind of assess and then capture the evidence of our work that we're doing, so that way we can work towards silver certification and gold certification. I really like the centralized information when thinking about pathway leadership teams, that it's here and it will live beyond who the immediate team is. So if there's a new pathway lead, a new administrator, a new counselor, and so on, that information is here. And for our pathway in particular, we're building out our advisory board right now. So having that ability to capture our partners and have it be there for everyone to see and to live and to modify as that team adjusts, there's a lot of value for that, for our team in particular. And then I also am really excited about the comparative data of our pathways, our pathway data to the district data. So in Long Beach Unified, we're a wall-to-wall district, and we want to move all of our students in our community forward. And so making sure that our pathway is supporting that work is a nice kind of metric for us to constantly look at and assess that we're doing as a pathway. And then last but not least, I really think back to the idea of the roadmap. I really like that the question is there. What do we need to put? It's simple. The standards are associated right there. So it's a quick reference of, this is what is the expectation. This is the evidence that we need to upload. And it's, kind of clear and concise. And then we don't have to worry about, because that's a big question for so many of us, right? Like, what do I need to do? How much, how long, how complex? This is helpful because it will kind of let people prioritize their time. So I'm really excited for our pathway to engage in this work, for our school to engage in this work. And thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Thank you so much. And, thank you for the time that you took that you invested really in taking a look at the platform. I really appreciate it. And to the other reviewers as well. And I think you'll see, a lot of the points you just hit are really, hopefully everyone will see, really are baked into this system and were priorities for us. So as it was developed. So now we're going to move into some questions. And so let's take a look at the chat and see what we've got.
Yes, we have a question. If a person is listed on the team list, but does not have access to the portal, are they still able to see and not edit?
So if they don't have access to the portal, they wouldn't be able to access any of the uploads or edit anything. They can certainly work with their team external to the platform with whatever system they choose to use, but they wouldn't be able to access the upload functions or anything.
Thanks. In the responses, either in the messaging system or on the artifact/data page, can you add hyperlinks into those responses?
I believe so, yes.
Yes, so I think those are, what do they call it, rich text or something. Mm-hmm. So you can add links and such in there, yeah.
Also, audience, these are great questions, so keep them coming. So we have another question. Do you need to upload the same document to different prompts if that evidence is appropriate to both prompts?
No, that's a good question. And, you know, we really want to make this, we don't want to just create work and create extra work. And so, no, and that's one of the things that we really like that we didn't have in the old system, of having that narrative box just above and associated with the upload. So you can explain those kinds of things there.
I'll also add that once you upload a document to one of the standards, it gets added to your document library, to your resource library. And so if it applies to multiple standards, you don't have to find it on your desktop and upload it again. You can just indicate that it applies to that standard as well.
Great. Another question we have, will any of the previous information transfer over for the gold pathways who have not used the new system, or will we have to begin fresh when we recertify?
So I think, well, Maya actually just sort of answered that question when she referred to the repository or library that is dedicated for each pathway. So each pathway has their own. And that's where we are going to transfer all the information that was in the current system over into that library for you. So yes, all of your old artifacts will be there for you. And let's see. I see a question from John. I'm not sure. Hey, John, does the system create a report that summarizes the artifacts and prompt responses? So one where you can get a report of everything that's been input in the fields and as well as the artifacts, I think.
Yeah, I think that might be a good tool to help people edit, especially if you wanted to bring people to look at certain parts and maybe they're not on the system itself. So there might be an opportunity to send them a PDF or send them, you know, here's what is written at this current state. Yeah. That's
a really good suggestion. I don't know, honestly, and Maya, if you do, you can let us know, but I don't know actually that if we have that capability now. I have to check with the developers, but it's a really good suggestion.
Yeah. Or you could just, if there's someone you want to be collaborating on this, you can just give them access to the portal too.
Yeah, it's true. All right. And is there a page that outlines all the sections for which we have data? So the closest that would be with the menus, is maybe Maya, you want to show?
Yeah. So actually the data page has all of the data points that are being requested, and required ones have the little red asterisk. And so it is broken down by the different strands, but all of the data that is requested is on that data page.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And then and there's a question about a technical problem, but maybe we can address that offline.
Okay, great. And we'll have more Q&A at the end.
All right. So I'm now going to show you the messaging page. So a key goal for us with the new system was to increase communication and ease of support. On the messaging page, you'll be able to see all of your communication with the Linked Learning staff, reviewers, and Pathway team members in one place, rather than having to do it through email outside of the system and without easily being able to include your whole team. The different headings up here represent the different pages in the platform where a message was left, and the message indicates the specific standard they're tied to. So you'll see.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Add that this is another point of fostering collaboration, because any message will be visible to the entire team and reviewers, but will not be considered as part of the evaluation process.
And then lastly, we have the support page. On this page, you'll find FAQs and resources that you can go and use throughout the certification process. This page is in its infancy and will continuously evolve and expand to include additional resources and answers as new questions arise. You can search through what is currently there and submit a help request. if you're still unable to find what you need. Please note that the submit help request is not an instant chat function, but we will respond as quickly as possible. And as we've seen already, we're always open to ideas and ways to enhance your certification experience. So please contact us if you have any specific resources or guidance that you'd like to see. And we're also here to offer any technical assistance if you're having any difficulties with using the platform. Back to Dan.
Thanks, Maya. Before we end the session today, I want to remind everyone that Link Learning certification is about much more than just meeting standards. The work you do in your pathways, schools, and communities to achieve silver and gold certification underscore the revolutionary change taking place in high schools across the country. We hope this new certification platform enhances your certification experience and sets you on a journey of continuous learning and improvement. To support you in the journey, we are offering a few pathway quality enhancement opportunities that we invite you to partake in. The Pathway Self-Study Tool is a dynamic online tool to help you identify your pathway strengths and needs and assess your readiness for certification. You can find this tool in our resource library under resources on the Alliance website. We will also be launching a Link Learning Certification Network on March 1st. The network will bring together pathway educators who are interested in using Link Learning standards and the certification process to design, evaluate, and improve pathways. The group will function as a community of practice, providing members with differentiated opportunities to learn together as you work towards silver or gold certification, and build a support network with other pathway educators with aligned goals. We welcome you all or anyone from your teams to join if you would like. You can join at any time depending on your goals set by your team for certification. And we have other events coming up, such as a 4-part workshop series on deeper learning, instruction, and assessment, starting February 23rd and continuing through May. Participants will work toward understanding and prototyping deeper learning instructional strategies and performance assessments. And in March, we're co-hosting a virtual site visit with Porterville Unified School District, where attendees will discover how a rural district in Porterville, California, has successfully implemented the Link Learning approach to prepare students for success in college, career, and life. Details and registration information are available on the events page in the resource section of the Link Learning Alliance website. And now we'd like to just welcome any other questions, final thoughts, comments that you may have. Again, you're welcome to put it in the chat, to just unmute yourself and speak up or raise your hands. All right. When is the timeline for the silver certification?
So we've actually shifted to a rolling review of silver certifications. So there's actually not a deadline. You'll be able to set your own deadline, but we will provide you with reminders as you go through the process if we see you need a little nudge to get the work going. But the timeline is up to you.
And I'll just add that if you go in as a candidate, you have basically 2 years to get through silver certification. Otherwise, we're going to inactivate you in our system if you're not actually making progress. So that's why Maya said we're going to keep reminding you. But so once you enter as a candidate, you have 2 years to go through silver.
Yeah, I think one important thing is we want this to be an accurate portrayal of the Link Learning field and community. And so we want to make sure that it's updated and active. And so we've set some deadlines, timelines for you. You know, we'll always check in with you. We want to support you, but we also want to keep things up to date and keep things moving.
And, you know, for us, I'll just add, this is a really important tool for you all in the field, because it also allows us to then report back out to folks, policymakers, community members, about what's happening in the Link Learning field, how many pathways there are, what industry sectors, who the industry partners are, how many kids are enrolled in pathways. We get asked those questions all the time, and we haven't had that capability to do that very accurately. And this is going to help us to provide much more accurate information to the field as we're trying to grow this movement.
Thanks, Renita. There's a question. Laura asks, are you going to take a peek at the silver certification? No, we want that to remain shrouded in mystery, Laura. No, sure, we can. So first of all, I'll say that in the system, it looks very much like the gold. I mean, what you see, the interface on the page is going to be just like what we just showed with a pathway that happened to be going through gold. But Maya's just put up on the screen a silver certification in progress. And you can see the steps there. And then if you click on, can you click on provide artifacts, Maya?
I was running into some issues earlier, but it decided to work. So here we are.
Oh, perfect. All right. Thank you. So again, for the silver, you'll see the overarching data there, which is really just about your admissions policy. And then you'll see the tabs at the top for the 3 strands. And again, the familiar silver standards. We've done some consolidating to make it, we got a lot of feedback on that initial part where entering program of study and then entering A through G requirements and entering CTE sequence was really a lot of work, onerous, and seemed a little redundant in a lot of ways. And so we've tried to really streamline that and make that a lot easier to do. I hope that answers, Lori, a little bit of your questions, but if we could go further if you want to. For gold certified, let's see. Reading a comment says, I saw that the certification is for 4 years with a mid-cycle review. Should we be expecting something for that mid-cycle review soon? Yes, Dawn. I think, weren't you certified? Yeah, was it? I think it was 2019, I think, right? In early 2019. Yes, so you'll be receiving some information, and it's not a full review by any means. It's just mostly updating information, checking in, talking about any changes to your program since your certification. And so I'll be reaching out to you about that.
And that'll happen in this platform as well.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, so all of the gold pathways that were part of the pilot 2 years ago, you're all up for mid cycle reviews this year. So you'll be hearing from us.
All right. Well, I just want to thank you all for, your commitment to this work and your involvement, and for just taking the time to be here today to learn about the new system, which we are very excited about, and we hopefully will serve you well. And I see in the chat, how will the new system work with those schools who are in distance learning? And I think the system is designed well. The process is not necessarily the new platform. The platform is great for distance, but the process, we've adapted the process for the virtual learning environment. We think it's really important to continue to support Pathways in their work. And just like you all have been asked to adapt and pivot and adjust your learning to the situation with your students and to keep moving forward, we too want to be able to support you for those Pathways who wanted to and are ready to keep moving forward with their certification, be able to do that. So we've adapted the process. We look at we talk to schools about what they're doing in this environment, as well as the programs that they had and initiatives they had in place beforehand that they fully intend to continue afterwards. So there is an adaptive process. Pathways are going through gold certification. We just had 2 new gold certified pathways at the end of the year. And a number of silver certifications. So it's absolutely going forward, and happy to talk to you. In fact, Angela at Pacific High School in San Bernardino, we have the digital design and communication pathway going through gold certification. So there's a lot of good work going on out there, and it's so inspiring and impressive to see what educators are doing. All right. Well, with that, I'll say have a good afternoon and thank you again for joining us and look forward to many future interactions. So have a good afternoon.